Today I'm going to demonstrate how to use a bait casting reel, which is the most complicated type of fishing reel. So if you're learning how to use one of these, I would suggest that you should already be very good at using a spinning reel or a spin cast reel. And that's going to make this experience much easier for you. So the first thing we need to do is set up our reel for casting. As a beginner, you're going to want to turn your braking system all the way up. So if you have a magnetic braking system like this, where there's a dial on the outside, it's either going to have a maximum and minimum label, or it might have a bunch of numbers. You want to turn this all the way up. If you have a centrifugal braking system, that's going to be located behind this cover plate. You're going to have to pop this off, and then in most cases you're going to see a bunch of pins back there. Each pin needs to be pushed toward the outside to engage it. Each one of those is an individual brake. As a beginner, you want to have those brakes turned all the way up. On the other side, right by your crank, you're going to see this little knob here. This is the spool tension knob. And you want to turn that all the way clockwise until it's tight. And then you should be able to push your casting button and nothing will happen. At this point, I've got my lure hanging in the background. I'm going to adjust my spool tension knob by turning it counterclockwise until my spool starts to turn and my lure starts to fall. There we go. So that's where I want it. If you're a beginner, you might want to go one click clockwise from there. And that's correctly set for this lure. So now I'm ready to make my cast. I'm going to demonstrate a sidearm cast and a roll cast. A sidearm cast begins with pushing down the casting button with your thumb and putting your thumb on the spool. You're going to hold that down so it cannot rotate. And then you're going to sweep your rod over the water in a motion like this. And when my rod is about here, if I'm casting that way, I'm going to let go of the spool with my thumb by just lifting it just a little bit so that spool can rotate freely. And then as soon as that frog is about to hit the water, I'm going to put my thumb back on the spool to stop it from rotating. Otherwise, you're going to get a whole bunch of line that'll jump off the reel. That's called a backlash. So I'm going to put my thumb back on the spool, then I'll switch hands and crank it and reel it back in. So it's going to look like this. As soon as that frog hits the water, I've got my thumb back on the spool. Now I can start bringing it back in. Now I'll show you a roll cast as well. A roll cast is basically a sidearm cast, but it also has a little extra feature where you put your lure around in a circle first before you do your sidearm cast, and the slingshotting motion of your lure there gives it some more momentum and it'll give you some more distance on your cast. So that's going to look like this. I'm going to go around in a circle and then I'm going to make a sidearm cast. And again, I'm going to get my finger right back on that spool right before that bait hits the water. It's going to look like this. Thumb is back on the spool, frog hits the water, now I can bring it back in. Hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, just leave those below. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll catch you next time.